Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about my 5 bank accounts. So if you guys have seen my budgets, usually I divide my budgets up between bills, savings and sinking funds, and living expenses. And the reason why I do that is because it's actually in conjunction with my bank account. Because one, it has to do with like how I'm distributing money after we get paid. And then also, I don't want to be tracking like a bunch of expenses because I know a lot of people do track their expenses daily or weekly or whatever. And then the third reason, we have goals that we want to accomplish, and having 5 bank accounts actually is helping us achieve those goals. And I wanted to share with you guys how we are using each and every one of our accounts. Okay, so our first bank account is actually our bills account. So I'm going to write bills checking account. And in this checking account, we have our direct deposit set up. So once my husband's paycheck hits this account, we go ahead and disperse the money into the following accounts. In this specific account, there are a couple things that we keep in here. Obviously, we have bills. So for example, you can have your rent in here. You can put the money that will go towards your debts. Or what else you can put in this account is like anything that's you write a check for. And what I mean by this is, like I said before, I don't really like tracking expenses, right? So sometimes you'll write a check and you'll forget about it. Sometimes people don't cash their checks right away. Like for example, when we tithe, we have to wait like obviously a couple days before the church cashes it out. So I like to put this money in here. And the reason why I like to have a bills checking account is we don't have to worry about possibly overdrafting, right? We don't have to worry about accidentally overspending in a category, for example, gas or something. We used to have like the typical one checking account and one savings account, right? And if you aren't good to sticking to a budget, all that money can get jumbled up and it can get really confusing. But if you have like one account that's just for bills, you don't have to worry about accidentally overspending and then you pay your bills and then you get overdraft fees and blah 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 blah. So I really like the fact that we have a bank account just for bills. And then moving on, so the second account that we have is our living expenses checking account. I'm gonna put a sticker down right here. So I'm gonna write living expenses, or just I guess expenses, and this is in a checking account. So in this lifestyle / living expenses checking account, this is basically anything that we don't use cash envelopes for. So for example, gas, we don't pull any cash out for gas because I don't like having to leave my car, leave my baby in my car and go inside and pay for gas. And also maybe you have like little events here and there, like maybe you want to go out for a dinner and you just rather have the money on your card, or maybe even online purchases. If I'm gonna buy something online, I just go ahead and leave it in my expenses checking account. Sometimes people put like the groceries and stuff in here, and that's perfectly fine if you're able to like stay within your grocery budget. Personally, we can't do that. I don't know what it is. I think it's the psychological aspect of, this is all the cash that we have, so we have to have our grocery money in cash. But if you want, you can put that into this living expense checking account. But the thing is, that means we would have to be more vigilant at checking and tracking our expenses. So yeah, it's just like basically anything miscellaneous for the month. I put it into this checking account. Okay, now the next account is our emergency fund savings account. So if you guys follow the Dave Ramsey plan, he always talks about having at least $1,000 in your emergency fund. But also maybe you guys are in a stage where you need 3 to 6 months expenses. That's where we would put all of that money aside as well. So we would put like 3 to 6 months expenses in here. I'm just gonna write savings right here. And this is the account that we just do not touch. So it's pretty basic. It's just the emergency fund savings account. So the next account that we have is our sinking funds account. And you can actually divide this into 2 more accounts, but we personally just put it into one account. This is our sinking funds checking account. And the reason why we have this in checking and not in a savings is because sometimes every month we will have to pull money from it. And I know that in savings accounts, you can only pull like a maximum of 6 times a month. So we put this in a checking account just in case if we do have to pull more than that out a month. So basically sinking funds, we're saving with a purpose. The money that we're saving into this account is going to different categories like, you know, car insurance or like annual expenses, expenses that are just occasional. So we have a checking account for our sinking funds, but you can divide it into 2 more bank accounts. We chose to just put it into 1 for now, but you can separate this and make it into 2 more bank accounts for like short-term funds and long-term funds. So for short-term, that's something like, for example, like holidays. You know that Christmas is coming up, so you're just gonna save it for the year, or like an event that you know that's coming up, or like annual expenses. Whereas the long term, if you decide to have a bank account for this, say a big travel event, like you guys are planning to go to Europe or Disney or whatever, and it's gonna take a little longer than a year. So I would say like short term is you're saving for something that's happening within a year, whereas long term is like a couple years for that. So maybe like a house payment or a down payment, or maybe you're just saving for a new car or something. You know what I mean? And our final bank account, which is our 5th bank account. So I actually have a business checking account. For my business checking account, as you guys know, I have my YouTube channel, and then I also have an Etsy shop. So in this checking account, I have my direct deposit set up for YouTube and Etsy. I do have to do some tracking because I have to divide the paycheck between taxes, and also I have to keep track of any business expenses as well. So yeah, that's basically it for my 5 bank accounts. This is what we personally do. You guys don't have to do this at all. I know some people are just perfectly fine with checking and a savings. This is what we have for our family. If you guys don't have a business account, then don't even worry about that. Then maybe you guys can look into having 4 bank accounts, or maybe 5 if you do decide to separate it between short-term and long-term funds. But yeah, I just feel like this has really helped our budgeting and for us meeting our goals. It has made our like budgeting really easy. Takes out the confusion of, you know, where's our money going? And also it takes away from the stress of having to track our expenses every day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Let me know, do you guys think that you'll be doing this for your family or incorporating it in your own finances? Yeah, so just let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Okay, bye guys!